2 chances for severe storms sparking another WRAL weather alert day. I'll show you the hours we're most at risk for heat, wind, and rain threats.
Then, Wake Tech making waves inside the U.S. Education Secretary's visit today. What this means for the future of North Carolina students. And a memorial out of this world. A local man's ashes sent to space.
Unfortunately, as you know, his ashes will not be returned to us.
What went wrong with this mission? As you look live over Southern Pines, a little rain coming down in the background, so the system hasn't quite arrived there just yet, but it is coming. Thank you for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. You can see on the radar right now kind of where these storms are and where they are headed. Moore County right now under a severe thunderstorm warning. Several other counties in our area under a severe thunderstorm watch. Kat, we have seen why we have this as a WRAL weather alert day. Trees down, hail, power outages, some pretty nasty weather this evening.
It's been a very busy day in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. 1 active warning right now. There have been times when we've had more than 5 warnings at once. It's Moore County included in the severe thunderstorm warning. A lot of lightning. The main reason why there is a severe thunderstorm warning here is due to the threat for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That warning remains in effect for another 30 minutes. I do want to point out a little bit of purple showing up in the northeastern part of the county. There could be some small hail falling in that cell. We've seen that a few times today. Around the triangle, still some rain lingering right along the Wake County and Harnett County, Johnston County line, but not a whole lot of activity left. The severe thunderstorm watch expires at midnight. However, I do expect this to be canceled early, so stay tuned for updates on that tonight at 10 and 11. Storm reports. We've had many reports of wind damage across the eastern half of our area. 1 report of 1-inch diameter hail. There have been 19 severe thunderstorm warnings today, over 12,000 strikes of lightning, and up to 2 inches of rain in spots. I'll walk you through how tomorrow's threats will be different coming up.
Boy, what a day. Now, Kat, before we move on, I do want to ask you about some pretty crazy video that we saw of some rain coming through this afternoon. Let's show it. This is from Jeremy Gilchrist. He posted this time-lapse video over East Raleigh, and you can see that rain just pours right out of the sky there like a faucet or a waterfall. This is one of those microbursts. So can you explain kind of what that means, how exactly it's playing out in this video?
It is right here. That is the microburst itself. It's a faint circle that you can actually see. What that is, it's all the cooler air from the storm. It's dense, it's cool. There it is again. And it actually slams into the ground. It is very heavy. You've got 60-mile-per-hour winds within that thing. It hits the ground and it spreads out in all directions. It's rare to capture these on video, so it's really remarkable when you can see it.
I can't say that I've ever actually seen it visualized like that before. It is really, really amazing to see, and you can see why those things can cause so much damage and so many problems.
Absolutely.
All right, Kat, thank you.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, we are tracking power outages, still seeing some problems with all of those trees that got knocked out. Take a look at some of the power outages at 7 o'clock. More than 9,000 customers still without electricity in Wake County. That is an improvement over 6 o'clock. We've seen quite a bit of improvement in a lot of these numbers. However, some of the outages in Cumberland County, more than 2,600 in the dark right now. Franklin, Nash, and Sampson County also pretty hard hit as those storms came through a little while ago.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you to Brian and Kat. Meantime, Education Secretary Linda McMahon, she visited Wake County today. She's here because, well, biotech companies keep picking the triangle to expand their businesses. They invest billions of dollars in our communities, and they create thousands of jobs that need to be filled by skilled people that our high schools, our universities, and our community colleges are training. Secretary McMahon came to Wake Tech to see all of this in action, and WRAL's Carly Haynes was there too.
This visit really shows that the Triangle is leading the way in attracting these biotech companies. The Education Secretary has the goal of building the workforce, so she came to learn more about the relationship between the students here at Wake Tech and the Triangle's growing cluster of biotech companies. Now, Secretary Linda McMahon heard from representatives with the biotech companies, including Amgen and Fujifilm Biotech, as well as Wake Tech and local universities. She also toured the training labs here, and Wake Tech explained explained its apprenticeship program, where students can get rigorous training in the classroom and then also that on-site job training within these major companies. It forms a symbiotic relationship. The students learn skills needed to thrive in this growing field of biomanufacturing, and companies can grow their future workforce.
You're not just creating this industry, you're creating communities around this industry. And so all of the technical skills that are being taught are needed in that development. So it's everywhere from biotech, but it's carpentry, it's HVAC, it's everything combined. It's just incredibly exciting to see the opportunity that is here for students, for families, and for industry that is moving to North Carolina.
More than 800 life sciences companies do business in North Carolina, and biotech companies say the state is appealing for its workforce, infrastructure, and ability to maintain these massive facilities. Most recently, in May, the state announced that the latest biotech company to be joining the Triangle would be Genentech. It's more specifically going to be located in Holly Springs and is expected to bring in hundreds of jobs. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Wake County.
All right, if you just get into the news tonight, let's get you caught up. Here are the 5 things you should know right now. Raleigh police are investigating a shooting. This is at a Sheetz on New Bern Avenue. Dozens of evidence markers there filling the parking lot on this rainy day. A car window was shot out. A tire was flattened. Police say no one was hurt, but they're looking for a suspect or suspects. They say there's no immediate danger to the public, but they're looking for some people. We're learning some more about what happened in the days leading up to this house fire that was investigated in Wake County. A man and 2 teenagers died there on Rand Road. We now know that deputies were called to the home the day before that fire. The Wake County DA says a woman living at the home filed a domestic violence protection order the very next day, and then the same day the house went up in flames. That same day, the 49-year-old Shannon Collins and 2 teenagers died. The SBI and state fire marshal are still investigating. A Nash County animal shelter now facing more than a dozen state violations. Investigators say the shelter failed to provide some adequate care and properly clean the animal enclosures. The state has issued a fine for that shelter of $6,700. That shrimp bill that created a stir at the state legislature is dead. The House says that they will not move forward with the bill. It would have banned shrimp trawling in inland waters while opening up for flounder fishing season. Shrimpers say this would have destroyed their livelihoods. Some good news out of western North Carolina. This section here of I-40 near the state line that closed, from the flooding in Rock Slide a little earlier this month. It's going to reopen next week, which is great news. DOT crews have been working at it for weeks now. The road should be good. Just before the holiday weekend, they should have, I think it should be open by July 3rd. North Carolina lawmakers are frankly running out of time to fund the state. The current budget ends in less than a week, and senators and House reps just can't seem to agree on how the next one should be all set up and how to spend your tax dollars. So here to explain really what happens if the deadline comes and goes without a deal is WRAL state government reporter Will Doran. So Will, what will happen if lawmakers fail to agree here, and what's that going to mean for all of us?
Yeah, Dan, it is not too unusual for the legislature to fail to meet this July 1st deadline to pass a budget. They've been missing that deadline for years, but usually that's because they're in the middle of some last minute negotiations, trying to hammer out the final details, and it just takes a little bit longer than they expected. This year, that is not the case. They don't really seem to even be particularly trying to reach a budget deal. They are just so far apart in their disagreements over tax policy, over teacher pay, over all sorts of big ticket items. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars here, hundreds of millions of dollars there for the budget. And some lawmakers are pretty unhappy with the lack of progress so far. Here's what we heard today from Wilmington State Representative Deb Lilly.
This is unacceptable, and the people of North Carolina should expect better of us. We've got one job, and it's to craft a budget, and we haven't done it.
They haven't done it, and they're not going to do it anytime soon. The legislature is about to take the next month or 2 off for vacation. Tomorrow might be their last day of votes for a long time.
So what happens then while they're on vacation? What happens next? Are we going to have a government shutdown next week? What's the plan here?
No, and that is the good news. The federal government does go into a shutdown when they fail to reach a budget deal. That's not how it works in North Carolina. Here, all of our state agencies just keep operating on the same budget they've been working with. with. So a lot of agencies won't really see a huge deal, but for things like a really fast growing school, for instance, they might not have enough money to hire more teachers for the start of the school year. Road construction projects that had been planned might have to get put on hold. And of course, state employees won't be getting their raises as long as there's no new budget.
So we talk a lot about what they've been disagreeing about. Is there anything that they have really been able to agree on?
Yes, there has been. It seems like they've been able to focus on everything but the budget. The past couple of weeks have seen just a really flurry of bills on guns, on immigration, on transgender issues, on DEI. Just today, we saw 3 different DEI bills pass the House and the Senate. And so there has been, ability to pass some bills. Governor Stein has already vetoed some of those bills. Others are awaiting action from him. In the meantime, he is calling on the legislature to just do something on Helene. That has also gotten caught up in this whole budget mess here. And I just spoke with the House Speaker, Destin Hall, about 15 minutes ago about Helene, and he said that there should be some good news on that front tomorrow. So we'll watch on that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Will. We've got more legislative coverage on WRAL.com. You can just click on that NC Capital section. Still ahead, a Fuquay-Varina man memorialized by launching his ashes into space. Yes, this is a real thing that thousands of families have done. The memorial for Steve Nielsen was pretty cool until something went wrong.
We felt immensely proud and excited. We were happy for him. Unfortunately, as you know, his ashes will not be returned to us.
That story when we come back. A man in Fuquay-Varina had one wish in life, and that was to go to space. Steve Nielsen wasn't an astronaut, he wasn't a billionaire, so in his lifetime, blasting beyond Earth's atmosphere just wasn't in the cards. It wasn't until after Steve died that he achieved his dream. You see, earlier this week, some of Steve's remains, some of his ashes, were sent to space, and they were supposed to come back to Earth, but something happened. Let's back up just a bit. Shooting people's ashes off into space has been a thing for a long time. There's a company called Celestis. They've been doing this since 1997. This is video from their Discovery flight in 2009. They put the remains into capsules, strap them into a rocket, and launch them into space. They've done this 26 times in their history, memorializing more than 2,500 people. Celestis offers a bunch of different services. The company told us that they don't release ashes into actual space. That could cause some real problems for satellites and spacecrafts and that sort of thing. But they can send them up and bring them back, like what Steve Nielsen's family wanted to do. It's not cheap. To send 1 gram of ashes to space and back costs $3,400. The most expensive option is to land your loved one's remains on the moon. This costs $50,000. Now, some of you might think that this sounds a little ridiculous, like maybe a waste of time and money, but consider that we do all kinds of interesting things to memorialize our loved ones. There's a company that combines ashes with concrete. They add it to a man-made reef off the coast. Another company turns ashes into jewelry. There's another one that will turn your ashes into fireworks. I mean, the point is, we do get pretty creative when it comes to honoring the dead. So there you have it, sending ashes into space. And it's a very touching event for the family. This is video from that launch on Monday night. The families watched from a distance, hugging and crying and remembering their loved ones, watching a truly unique memorial take place. The remains of 166 people were on board this flight, including Steve from Fuquay-Varina. He died in 2023 after many years battling heart and kidney failure. Steve was a huge science fiction fan, Star Wars and Star Trek, that sort of thing. As a kid, he would joke that aliens from Area 51 abducted him. Steve simply loved space, but he loved his family a whole lot more. He and his wife met in their high school youth group building playgrounds for kids in Pembroke. They grew up, got married, and had a son named Andrew.
My son and I loved my husband very, very much. And we are glad that he was able to go to outer space. And we are blessed that we were able to have that happen.
That is Karen Nielsen. That is Steve's wife. We spoke to her after this week's launch. She said it meant the world to them to see her husband go to space.
The joy and exultation we felt watching him go into space, that was a lifelong dream of his and something he truly wanted to do. We felt immensely proud and excited. We were happy for him. I thought I could hear him laughing. Unfortunately, as you know, his ashes will not be returned to us.
That's right. Steve's ashes are not coming back. You see, something went wrong on the mission. These are the capsules that went up in the rocket. They orbited the Earth a few times, but when it came time for the capsules to come home, the parachute broke, and the capsules with Steve and 165 other people crashed into the Pacific Ocean. Celestis wrote an email to the family saying, "We regret to share that an anomaly occurred during re-entry. The parachute system failed, resulting in the capsule impacting the Pacific Ocean and dispersing its contents at sea. We believe that we will not be able to recover or return the flight capsules." Can you believe that? Steve Nielsen went to space, ended up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Now, to be clear, Celestis didn't take all of his ashes to space, only about 1 gram, which is a tiny amount. Celestis says this has never happened before, and they apologized to the families and offered them a new flight free of charge if they like. All that said, you can understand how this could be difficult and confusing for those families. On one hand, you have the emotion of sending a loved one into space. And on the other hand, you have the disappointment of losing a piece of those remains. We asked his wife, Karen, how we should approach this story. Should we be uplifted? Should we feel upset? Here's what she said.
I would say this is the craziest week of my life. So I would say I'm about stuck in the middle. We've had some really great moments. We knew, we're practical and we're realistic. We know that anything could have happened. He had fought against diabetes for over 20 years, along with heart and kidney failure. How many people can say they actually went into outer space? And even if it happened after he passed, well, in my book, that's still a win.
So Karen and her family, they knew the risks, but it was important to them to honor their father, their husband, Steve, in this way. It is what he always wanted, so why not? And whether it comes from the cosmos or the ocean or the church where the rest of his remains are interred, I bet Steve's smiling. His dream realized, his science fiction turned to science fact. Kat?
Thanks, Dan. Taking a look outside, we do have some storms that we continue to monitor. One approaching Pinehurst and Southern Pines, still a little ways away, heads up, but they are under the severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. A lot of lightning within this storm, some pretty heavy rain. It's a compact storm, but it's packing a punch, potentially producing some hail as it travels to the south and west. So that's what we're going to be watching for within the storm, as well as the threat for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Things have quieted down, though, around the triangle right now. We remain under the severe thunderstorm watch, and you may be wondering why. These storms are moving out of our area right now. The National Weather Service just updated us. They're keeping an eye on the outflow, which is the cool air that comes rushing out from these storms, to see if maybe some of the spots that haven't seen any rain yet today, if that's able to kind of start a reaction to get those storms going. So that's why the severe thunderstorm watch will stay in effect a bit longer. The heat index, 84 in the triangle, 79 in Southern Pines, 77 in Fayetteville, and 70 in Clinton right now. These numbers are amazing. We had 111 for the heat index before noon today, to put that into perspective. So the rain has helped, but not everybody lucked out today, of course. 74 the low tonight in Raleigh and Fayetteville, as well as Rocky Mount. 71 for Southern Pines and Roxborough. These numbers are great compared to what we've had the past several nights. Lows were in the upper 70s, even 80 earlier this morning. The maximum heat index today was 111 at RDU, the high 99 this afternoon. It's been our fourth day in a row that we have been, our third day today, that we've been under any kind of a heat advisory or extreme heat warning. Tomorrow will mark number 4, but fourth day in a row with the heat index over 100. Today it was an extreme heat warning with the heat index over 110. The heat advisory is a tier lower in severity tomorrow. The heat index shouldn't quite get up to 110. That doesn't mean it's not going to be hot. The heat index still likely over 105. Highs are in the mid to upper 90s tomorrow. And we'll watch for some thunderstorms to fire up during the afternoon as well. These could start around lunchtime and continue into the early afternoon hours tomorrow. There is a level 1 severe weather threat for tomorrow. we'll be watching for some storms with strong winds once again, but there shouldn't be as many of them as what we saw today. Friday, a 30% storm chance, a level 1 threat for severe storms, and Friday, that chance actually goes up a little bit as we head into the nighttime hours. It's a 40% chance tomorrow, 30% chance Friday, but 40% chance Friday night. Over the weekend, it is hot. It is humid. Highs are in the mid to upper 90s, but only a 20% chance for rain. Next week, we've been telling you that we should see the heat back off a bit, and that is still the case. It's going to feel like July. It's going to feel like summer, but some relief after our stretch of 100-degree heat indices and actual 100-degree highs. That 89 looks awfully inviting for next Wednesday, Dan.
It is going to feel chilly at 89 after what we've dealt with. Thank you, Kat. The NBA draft is tonight, and everybody wants to talk about Cooper Flagg. I mean, fair enough. He is the best. But there are a few other local names to pay attention to. Your one last thing is after the break. One last thing to talk about tonight. The NBA draft starts pretty soon here, and we know who's going to go number 1, most likely. Cooper Flagg, the Duke Blue Devil, will become a Dallas Maverick. This is pretty much a slam dunk, no surprise here. But there are lots of other players to keep an eye on tonight with many ties to our area. A bunch of Flagg's teammates, for instance, are on this list. Con Knipple, Kaman Malawach, Tyrese Proctor, all played at Duke. You've also got Drake Powell. He played at UNC. He's also from Durham and went to Northwood High School in Pittsburgh. Good luck to all of them. We're proud of you. Go make that paycheck, right? This is going to be a fun night for them. Thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.